sembrava a prima vista tanto per benino, si offre a far da guida per la città. Pedro, 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 praticamente il meglio di Santa Fe.
Put a challenge upon myself and I gotta see it through.
We're gonna make porcini mushroom risotto. So this is how we do it in Bella actually. We have of course our arborio rice. This is essential for risotto. And then we have 3 types of mushrooms in our risotto, which is porcini, the main flavor. This is where it's coming from. We have a portobello mushroom and then an enoki mushroom. And these 3 are served in 3 different textures as well. Get right into it. So we're gonna start off, first thing first, we're gonna make our porcini mushroom stock. We're gonna soak the porcini mushroom in some hot water. Okay, so we're gonna warm the water up and then we're gonna soak it. Next, we will do all the chopping, all the measuring now. So to make a classic risotto, normally we will use arborio rice, but if you can't find it, because it's a little bit hard to find, I've tried it with Japanese rice as well, short grain rice. That works as well. So we're gonna do 60 grams of rice. This is just nice for 1 portion. So it will cook up to about double its size, which is about 120 grams. That is just nice for 1 person. 1 serving. We're now gonna wash it, okay, because we don't want to wash off the starch. I need the starch to make the risotto creamy. Okay, so right now the water is warmed up. We don't really need it boiling. This is 10 grams of porcini mushroom, dry. We're gonna do 10 grams to 300 grams of water. Okay, we're gonna let that sit and let it soak and infuse the flavor to make our mushroom stock. Next step would be cutting all our vegetables. We have 3 components in this dish, which is first of all the porcini risotto, and then next we have the portobello steak, and then we have our tempura batter enoki mushroom, the see you tomorrow mushroom. Okay, so cut our aromatics for the risotto. So we need 20 grams of onion. So we're gonna brunoise the onion. Okay, so we're gonna set that aside. We will take stems off the portobello mushroom because it's gonna be in the way when we are cooking the steak. We're gonna just pluck it out. Okay, this one we will save it for the steak later. This one we'll brunoise it as well, small cubes, and then we're gonna use it together in our risotto base. For our enoki mushroom, actually we don't need that much. We only need this part about here. Cut it over here. This part you can use this as well. This one we're gonna cut it into very small dices, not really, but like make it fine for our risotto base as well. We're gonna mix it in with the portobello stem. Last but not least, we're gonna chop some parsley for garnish. So right now we're gonna start cooking our risotto. We have all our mise en place done. We have the soaked porcini, we have the risotto portion, we have the onion as our base, then the mushroom stems, our garnish, and one of our components. We're gonna start cooking. First of all, heat up our pan to medium heat, oil in, so onions in. Okay, this is our very first base for our risotto flavor. We're just gonna gently sweat the onions. We just need to cook it until it softens and then becomes a bit transparent. Basically, sweating is just you have some oil, then you put in your vegetables, your aromatics, and then you just let it cook on medium heat. Okay, so right now I'm just gonna add in mushroom stems. Okay, all in now. Okay, and then we continue to sweat. Okay, so right here I would turn up the heat a little bit because I don't want too much moisture building up in the pan. I need it dry for me to toast the arborio rice next. Why you need to turn up the heat when you put in the mushroom stems is because if you do it on low heat, it will release moisture and you're not gonna get a very nice flavor extraction, no browning. And at this stage, we don't really add in any salt or any seasoning because you're just gonna draw more moisture, which we don't want. Okay, we're just gonna fry this until it's slightly caramelized, and then we're gonna add in our arborio rice. Right now you can see that it's starting caramelize. I'm gonna add in my arborio rice. So we're gonna keep the pan dry. We're gonna toast the rice. And you can see that there's barely any oil in the pan right now because saving on oil, okay? It's flavor. Okay, so we're just gonna toast it lightly, and then we're gonna deglaze with some white wine. Okay, so in this case, we are using Sauvignon Blanc. To make it easier to control, we usually put our thumb to block like half of it, or more actually. Yeah, leaving just a bit open, and we're gonna deglaze. Right now we're gonna start adding our porcini stock. So I'm just gonna do about half of it right now. Then I'm gonna start cooking it on medium heat. We need to stir it quite frequently to prevent it from sticking, and then you need to constantly stir it, and then you will get the very creamy, starchy risotto texture. While this is cooking, I'm gonna put it on medium-low heat and stirring once in a while only. So right now we're gonna make our tempura batter. So 1-to-1 cornstarch and all-purpose flour. Then we have our all-purpose flour. Don't forget to stir your risotto. Now it's starting to get dry, so I'm gonna add a bit more of the stock. 3 grams of salt, 5 grams of sugar. Again, don't forget to stir your risotto. It's looking nice and creamy already actually. You can see the starch starting to work. Okay, so we have our simple tempura batter ready. So from this point on, I will be adding my porcini mushrooms in as well to let it finish cooking and also intensify the flavor in the risotto. When you're using dried mushrooms, you will see some bigger pieces, no issue. You can just cut it anytime. Cut it smaller into bite size, preferably. I would say 60% done, but we're gonna do a texture check on the risotto. It's about halfway done. Normally, I will do some seasoning right now, just a little base. Since that's 50% done, I'm gonna start working on my portobello steak. I'm gonna bring this to the side, set this on medium heat, continue cooking. Here I will be cooking my portobello. Then don't be shy with the oil. Okay, heat it up high. Here on maximum heat, in goes our portobello, top side down. Okay, and then really press it to get a good sear. Season the top a little bit with some salt. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave that to sear. Then here I'm gonna start focusing on my risotto. This is about 70% there. So I'm gonna stop this first because I need to focus on my other components. Okay, then we're gonna finish that later all together. I'm just gonna season this side as well. Okay, I'm gonna add in some butter. Okay, in goes my thyme. Okay, so the mushroom is done cooking. I'm going to just set it aside first. Put a bit of that butter to sort of glaze it. And the rest of the butter, we're just gonna use it for the risotto. Second last thing is our gnocchi mushroom. So I have some deep frying oil here. Okay, I'm gonna temp my oil. We're gonna fry gnocchi mushroom. All you need is these 3 items, a flour and the batter. Before you fry it, before you mix it in, we're going to mix the tempura batter one more time. So what you need to do is actually try not to touch the base, break apart the base too much. You're gonna try to keep it together. Dip in some flour so that it sticks the batter. And then your batter in. And then drop it in. Shake it a little bit and then gently put it in. Alright, this is done. So while we drain, immediately season with just a bit of salt. We're gonna place it here. And repeat the process. Just give it a quick taste to see where I'm at. So I have a bit more. This is the last of my mushroom stock. I'm gonna add it all in. Gonna cook it. Last round. Okay, one quick taste again. Always taste your food. Okay, so it's a bit dry right now. I will add just a bit of water because I ran out of mushroom stock. And you can see that the color is actually quite dark. It's definitely enough. Flavor is strong. So how I usually test not the texture of the risotto, but more of the sauce is by swirling it. So I just, use the same amount of energy to swirl it, and then I can roughly tell whether the sauce is there or not. And then another thing I can do is also by tossing it. So this is slightly too liquid. Okay, just a bit more, and then it's perfect. This will be our final seasoning. Texture is there, seasoning is not. more salt, black pepper. Then I'm gonna finish with some butter. Just stir until the butter melts and then we are done. So the key is, adding the butter in is also, you need to turn off your heat and stir it in. Stir your butter in so that you can create this very creamy sauce. Alright, that's it. We are done. One final taste test. Yep. Alright, we are done. So we're gonna reheat our garnish in the oven. So we're gonna slice up our portobello. So I'm gonna try slicing it slanted. So it looks nicer. Looks more like a steak. And there we have it. We have our garnishes ready. This is the moment where we put our risotto in. Alright, in goes the risotto. Okay, then we're gonna have our portobello. So hope you don't mind me. There's a few broken pieces. So I'm gonna plate that up first. Then we have our perfect pieces. That looks like steak. I will do some parsley first for the contrast. And then we're gonna finish it in a bit of gnocchi. Okay, then we're gonna finish it with a bit of pecorino romano. Just a little bit. So this is Bella's mushroom risotto that we serve as a special occasionally, okay? And so it's a porcini mushroom risotto with a portobello mushroom stick and a tempura batter and fried gnocchi mushroom. Alright, so I'm gonna dig in.
Wait, can I try that? I haven't tried your
Go
risotto
ahead.
at Bella before. This is your first time eating it.
No, first time eating it myself.
Mm.
I mean, I cook myself.
It looks very pretty.
Eat all three together. All three mushrooms and the risotto. All three together.
Ooh. I feel like I could make this accessible for home cooks.
How?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure people don't have arborio, but I can find something in their house. Everyone has mushrooms sometimes. I feel like we could do it.
And be better than this?
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Can we try?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll find whatever's in the studio.
Yeah, go ahead.
Plus, you have some extra mushrooms in there, right?
Go
And
ahead.
I know we have extra mushrooms from Tess. Can?
Yeah.
I'll do it.
To beat this.
Yeah, I'll try. So yesterday, Jack made his risotto that they are currently serving at Bella, and I tried it. And I did kind of tell him that I feel like I could make it accessible. So put a challenge upon myself, and I got to see it through. First, I want to look for stuff that I can find here, because that was the promise. Things, ingredients that I can find in this kitchen to remake that. Just so that it makes sense. It's like things that people would find in their pantry or can just buy it easily from the store. So if I'm gonna break down his risotto, let's see. I need the stock. And I know he left some gnocchi in there. Let me check the fridge. He has a whole portobello, but I see shiitake. And I feel like shiitake is more affordable for people. Let me just grab this. And I need onion for sure. Let's think. So I have this for the broth. And I can eat with this. I'll probably use the gnocchi for garnish as well. Then I need to get, well, I'm not gonna use arborio rice. Let's see. I feel like everybody has pasta or rice in their house. So I so happen to have orzo. And I feel like that's the perfect substitute. So we got orzo, we got our mushrooms, an onion to make stock. I might need more onion, but I know we got some in stock. And if I'm using this for garnish, I need color. So let's check herbs. Let's see. I know that I got chives in here. Yes. All right. So I'm gonna keep this in here, but I'm gonna use that instead of, I think he used parsley. And I think that should be it. I make my broth, I have my risotto. Well, orzo. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so I did find later on when I checked in the fridge, he has some pecorino romano left. I stole his old butter, measured out some black pepper, and I also decided I want to use cream, heavy cream in mine. I know he didn't use it in his, but because I'm not using arborio rice and I'm using the orzo, it comes out more starchy than the arborio, which may sound like a good thing, but it might start getting firm. So I don't want that to happen. I'm actually going to try and blanch and rinse this a little bit to get that starch off and bring back some of that like stodginess and that creaminess using actual cream. And of course, cheese. So let's get started. I'm only gonna need a little bit of this because I want to use this for garnish. I'm not gonna use all of that. I'm gonna kind of use half of that for the garnish, and then the bottom half I'm gonna use it for the stock. These are good too because like mushrooms, you can keep cooking them and they're gonna be good. I'm also thinking of getting the onions to char, so I'm gonna brulee the onion. I'm gonna get like that much just for the broth. Put it at a medium heat. And the reason I'm cutting this into slices is just to increase that surface area so that I can get more char. And while that's happening, I'm gonna work on this. So like I said, I'm gonna keep half of it for garnish. This will be my garnish. And this will be for my stock. Same goes with these stems. If you're trying to make this at home and you don't want to waste any mushroom, you can eat the stalks, you can cut it up the way Jack did with his portobello, but I feel like shiitake stems they would be nice, but it's just so little that it doesn't make sense to go into the orzo, into the dish. I'm just gonna use it for the broth. So Jack made that portobello steak. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna make life easier, and we're just gonna add this straight into the dish when we're sauteing the orzo in. We'll add this in first just so that we can also get the flavor from this in there other than from the broth. And I'm just gonna cut these into either quarters or like 6, just because I want it to have some bite to it. And these are pretty big. Okay, we're just gonna set this aside. Let's check on our onions. This is okay, but I'm thinking a little more charred, honestly. I want it to look burnt. And we're gonna flip it too so that it gets all sides. Like we're not wasting any chance to get color. I feel like I need more onion here too. Let me just lower this and just add some more. Just because I'm relying on this broth to give me the most flavor. And onions really add like a nice sweetness to it. So this will help. And for the rest of this onion, we are going to dice it to add it into the orzo later. Get a medium dice probably would be fine. Here, I prepped some clean water earlier. I'm just gonna bring this just water to a boil. Okay, let's take a look here. And you could go a little darker if you dare. I just don't want to be eating that much carbon. Measure out like 50 grams of orzo. And I'm gonna set a timer for 2 minutes actually. I'm going to like strain this and rinse it with the water. 1, to get that starch off, and 2, to just stop the cooking. That's our 2 minutes. And we're gonna go strain this and then get that pot. Just gonna get all the extra orzo out. Do a little rinse. So I'm just stopping the cooking. I'm actually going to toss this in a little bit of oil because we are setting this aside. So just a little bit. Mix it up a little bit there. What I'm looking for is just a lot of color from the onions because this is what will make that beautiful like brownish color in my risotto, which kind of indicates there's mushroom in there. Even though I guess it's kind of cheating because the color is coming from charring the onion or bruleeing the onion. I want to saute these. So we're gonna add a little bit of oil. I already brought down the heat. Just to saute. Throw this in. So don't worry too much about the butts. We're gonna strain it. And we're not going to season the stock because we're gonna season the orzo later when we're cooking it. And that way we have better control in the amount of salt we put. Because if I salt this right now, And when I add the pecorino later, which is a really salty cheese, it might get too salty. Just sweat the mushrooms a little bit, get some of that juices coming out, draw it out with that. Just gonna add some water in here now. I want to make sure I have enough water for later, so I think that's good. I'm gonna bring it down to a simmer, and we're gonna simmer this for 45 minutes. I really want all that mushroom flavor out. Usually if you're doing this at home, you could make this in advance, or you could just let it simmer on the stove while you're working on anything else that you need to do. I think it still fits the accessible the title, right? Alright, so this has been steeping about 45 minutes. The color looks good. This is where I want it to be, like that nice brown, mushroomy, earthy color. I'm just gonna let that keep simmering for a little bit more, no harm done, while I prep that garnish. Jack's one was a tempura batter enoki mushroom. I'm not gonna do that. Sure, you can make it at home, but I feel like not everybody wants to deep fry tempura. I am going to cut this a little bit smaller, like maybe 2 centimeters. So I'm gonna cut this in 3 parts. Let me try putting some cornstarch on this, but just a light coating. Just get it nice and coated. And in here, okay, I'm going to put butter, just because if I'm gonna put this on low heat to fry, I know that it's gonna get a lot of that oil absorbed into the mushroom, and I want the flavor. Like, butter always tastes better. So I can definitely put more, because it's gonna be like shallow frying in there. I'm gonna put this back in the fridge because I do want to use the butter to monte the orzo at the end, and it needs to be cold. I'm gonna increase the heat. I'm gonna be careful with this because I'm not trying to let the butter burn, right? Because there's the milk solids in there still. It's not clarified butter. I'm gonna put all this in. I'm just making sure all of that enoki is covered with butter. I'm gonna try and see if I can get some color on that. I'm gonna take this off heat a little bit. So this will act as our salt a little bit. We will still season to taste after, but you gotta remember that this brings in a lot of that salt into our dish. I think I do want to drain off some of that butter. So I'm gonna line my plate with some paper towels here. So the reason I keep twirling this is because the induction's kind of giving a bit of like uneven heat. Maybe it's the pot, I'm not sure, but I just don't want it to burn on one end. I'm just distributing the heat, and I'm trying to flip the enoki here and there, making sure the browning is on both sides and it's even, because there's not much butter, so it's not covered all the way. It's heating more at the bottom. I'll use this to strain both the enoki and the stock. It's okay if I get some butter in my stock. So that's a nice deep golden color. Shake off any of that excess butter. And transfer that there. And just spread it apart, especially because there will be some carryover cooking. So I don't want this to get too dark. It's already a pretty deep golden brown. I'll set this aside, so just let it cool a little bit. Now, let's pay some attention to the stock over here. I'm gonna pour all of this out. I actually do want to put all of this stuff into the sieve and kind of squeeze it out, because that's where all the flavor is. So I'm just gonna press this, see how much I can get out of there. If we just threw that away, what a waste. You can keep this and use it for something else, but I'm just gonna chuck it because I have no use for it. And then we are going to transfer this back into the pot because I want to keep this stock warm. Because if we're gonna put it in my orzo, I'm not trying to bring the temperature all the way back down, right? It's gonna make my orzo like take longer to cook, which would make it mushy, and I don't want that. I want to just like continuously strain, and we're gonna do the same thing as risotto. We're gonna put it in parts and stir, 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 because the whole point of that is to basically let the starches slowly come out, and then when we're stirring, we're emulsifying without like dumping all the water in and boiling the outside till it becomes mushy, and then the inside's not even done. And then if you cook it for the inside to just be al dente, the outside will be mushy. That's why you spoon it in. Now that our stock is strained, we can move on to the orzo. And I've had this cling wrap just so that it doesn't dry out while my stock was simmering over there. Right, so let's heat this pan up, and I'm keeping this on like just the lowest heat, just keeping it warm.
So I know most of you at home have a little bit of wine in the fridge, right? When you party.
Generous oil. Yeah, get all of this onion in. Not too high of a heat, you're just trying to sweat this. Same thing as Jack's, still translucent. Same techniques apply. I'm gonna remove this cling wrap. Ooh, smells good. I always like the smell of onion. Now we can add in our shiitake hits. Bring up the heat a little bit. So I'm not putting any salt in here, so you won't see the mushrooms draw up moisture as much. And I do want to keep that chew, that firm bite in the mushroom, so this is okay. Just want to get a little bit of sweating, a little bit of flavor, maybe some color. Not too much, because I do need to add the orzo in. And you see how all that oil is being sucked up by the mushroom. That's why it's okay to put a lot of oil. So this is why we add the oil. At least like when I press it, it still like comes apart. If I didn't add the oil, this would be one hard and mushy mess. I'm just gonna add that into the pan. And we're gonna toast this a little bit, because I basically just wanna like dry out the outside, kind of like heat up the starches. Break it down a little bit. And what you're looking for here is to just dry out that orzo a little bit, get a little bit toasty. And at this point, I'd like to think that the orzo is kind of absorbing all that mushroom juice. And I didn't add any water. This is just the free water, or I think that would be actually bound water in the mushroom that's coming out through heat right now. Yeah, you can see that the orzo is getting drier here, right? We're gonna deglaze with white wine here. Honestly, all of it. It's on high heat. Just trying to like lift all that flavor. We're trying to evaporate the alcohol here. All right, then we're gonna ladle about 80 to 100 grams in here. All on high heat. So same things applies to how you would make a risotto with arborio rice. We're gonna ladle it bit by bit, and we're basically trying to get the starches to release. So we're just emulsifying it when we mix it, and I would try to mix it more constantly to get everything kind of evenly cooked. It's getting nice and thick and glossy. You're taking your time, you're not throwing all the broth in. In the beginning, it's gonna really quickly evaporate. You'll see it bubble, and that's because the orzo is just like sucking in all of that beautiful stock. Almost dry out, not yet, but you'll see it almost dry out. Then you wanna add that ladle in again. Keep mixing it. Let it boil, let it evaporate. It's absorbing, right? Let it absorb into the orzo, then add it in again until you see the right consistency. There's no like specific amount that I can tell you or time to cook it for. You just gotta know how to see it. And I'll show you what consistency I'm looking for later. All right, you see most of that liquid away, it's gone. And then ladle in another, I would say that was like 60, yeah. 80 to 100 each time, just a little bit. You don't want to shock our orzo with too much water, right? And always on high heat. All right, so as you can see, it's taking a little longer to like for that liquid to kind of disappear. I'm just gonna keep stirring it. Make sure all that starch is nicely emulsified. I want to get that nice goopy, stodgy texture so that when I pour it into the plate, I can just and then it flows nicely. I just want to check for the texture now. right? Alright, that's good. I think if you look at that, right, it's still loose. It's nice and starchy, right? I think that's good. I'm gonna add the cheese in. Heat on low, lowest setting. Put all that good cheese in there. And this is when we're gonna wanna season it with our pepper, right? So I'm just looking for the cheese to disappear in here with low heat. Add the cream here. Just measured out a little earlier just to prep. Right, so off heat. We're gonna get that cold butter that I mentioned earlier. I'd say like 3 little cubes here. I'm gonna eyeball it. You're just trying to get that gloss. Let the remaining, what is it? The leftover heat, the residual heat, just melt all that butter. And what it's doing here is that fat is just getting in there and making it all glossy. I'm doing this with my spatula. So we'll do that mandatory toss whenever you're making risotto. I'm just looking at the little knobs of butter and just making sure all of that it's gone. We don't want someone to take a bite of straight butter. Got a fresh pack of chives here. All right, we're gonna set this here. All right, let me pick my plate. I feel like black is a nice contrast. Just dump it all in the middle. Tap, tap, tap. Get this. I'm gonna get this everywhere because I want everyone to like have a bite, have a crunch, a mixture of textures. We all love textures. Got my chives here. Get a little nice line. Nice and pretty. And there you go. All right, I'm gonna send the photo to Jack. I'm gonna see what he says. Hello?
Hello.
Did you get the photo?
Sorry?
Did you get the photo?
Yeah, I did.
I did it. What do you think?
Wow. What are those crispy? Oh, that's
The enoki, yeah. Dipped in cornstarch, fried in butter. Yeah, lah. You like the look?
Missing something lah. I cannot see the mushrooms very clearly. Yeah.
That's
But
true. I can, because the
otherwise,
shiitake.
yeah, but otherwise looks good lah. Yeah. Yeah, looks good. Yeah.
Thank you, chef. All right,
No, right.
get back to your
Okay.
thing. Bye.
Okay, see you. Bye.
All right, so I'm gonna have Haran taste test my judge.
Thank you. Bonsoir.
What do you think?
Nice. I do like the cream and butter addition.